Hi everyone, greetings from National Skills Network. Today, when we talk about artificial intelligence or AI in skill development and education, it is definitely much more than just a buzzword. With many initiatives from the government and also from other organizations, what we get to see is that it has huge scope to disrupt how we make education inclusive, accessible, particularly for a country like India, where we have so many languages and so much of variety in our education and skilling systems. To learn more about how artificial intelligence can disrupt the field of education and skill development, I am here to present to you a conversation with Dr. B. Shadrach, who is the Director of Commonwealth Educational Media Centre for Asia. The context for this conversation is also the recently held Global Partnership Artificial Intelligence Summit, which is known as GPAI, where Dr. Shadrach had shared some of his views on the same lines. So this is like a follow-up on that, and we also get to learn about the action points about how the agenda for artificial intelligence can be taken forward in India. We are discussing the impact of artificial intelligence in education and skilling. One important point which comes to my mind is the kind of disruption we are seeing in this area, particularly. Learning is so accessible. There are generative AI tools like ChatGPT, and many things are becoming very commonplace. Unlike earlier, when technology adoption used to take a lot of time, there was resistance from people, and we have seen that phase also. So, considering this, what do you think are 3 or 4 areas where you will see a lot of disruption in the coming years in education and skilling?
I think to begin with, ChatGPT has actually brought us to this conversation, although artificial intelligence has been there for 60 long years, and we have had the summers and winters of AI, what they call. But since the late 2022, we seem to have a lot of buzz around AI, which is rightly so because of ChatGPT and related efforts thereafter that had taken place, whether it is Bod AI or OpenAI, which brought out ChatGPT, or even Microsoft Bing Chat and others. And we have hundreds of these web-based services offered, or also application-based services offered. When it comes to education and skilling, there is a huge opportunity. The first disruptor, as we see in India, is the Bharat GPT, which would now work in multiple languages. Now, largely, we have seen any major disruption happening in global languages, Spanish, French, English, also Arabic included. But today we are visualizing an opportunity for the 22 major Indian languages to benefit from the tools and techniques that are available, whether it is Bhashini, whether it is Anuvadini, or any of those translation tools, but also transcription tools, which we used to once upon a time call text to speech and speech to text. And
Yeah.
now these are all seamlessly possible. And these are going to really disrupt the way that we generate content rather than consume content. Because the moment these tools are put in the hands of common people, they no longer become consumers of content, they become generators of content. Once they start generating language content, then the training AI algorithm would be much easier for on that language-based data. At the moment, the entire artificial intelligence systems rely on largely English language data, or information that's available on the web, and also that is in the possession of the major companies.
Right.
Now, if you want to democratize and put it in the hands of people and make it pervasive, uh, tools like Bharat GPT and others are going to be very, very important. And I see this as a major disruptor in the AI landscape.
And also, sir, recently the government has, I think, released a policy on AI skilling as well. That's something we just came to know. So this is definitely going to play a very important role in the coming years, as you said, mostly considering the multilingual identity of our country. Now, since you already mentioned ChatGPT, and I think that was something that brought AI to every home, or every workplace, I would say. How do you think this can transform the teacher education landscape or training of trainer kind of capacity building activities? Do you see any important initiatives that can be taking place there? Or what are your ideas on this?
Yeah, before going to the training of trainers and teacher education landscape, I wanted to say a few words about the India AI Future Skills effort, which
Okay.
is one of the working groups that the government had instituted recently. And the
Hmm.
report was published about 10, 15 days ago, if I'm correct. And
Yeah.
this India AI Future Skills group, led by Dr. Shashi Kumar of CDAC, with eminent members, have mapped very well the curricular needs of our country, ranging from 8th standard to the tertiary level.
Hmm.
They've come up with kind of a curricular framework, if you like, so that the future workforce can be AI centered workforce. So everyone, right from standard 8 onwards, can be taught artificial intelligence and could specialize, because a large portion of the gain that awaits a country like India or many developing economies is by having not only the artificial intelligence systems in place, but also human intelligence that would work closely with all these gadgets and tools and techniques to exploit the power of AI. So skilling is extremely important, and the government has put out a very good effort. But in all this, as you rightly pointed out, training of trainers and teacher education is something that we need to be equally be aware of. We should focus equally on teachers, and not necessarily only students or learners, because in order to prepare the learners for tomorrow, you need to also prepare the teachers who prepare the future society.
Yeah.
Because the ambition of many governments would be to have an AI aware society.
Hmm.
Society that consumes AI would need to be aware of how they consume and how they are impacted. So there is a need for general education, but also a need for preparing the young minds right from early childhood onwards in computational thinking and STEM education and so on. This is where teachers play an important role, because teachers shape up the children and their ability to exploit the latest technologies and tools right from the early age.
Hmm.
So the program that we launched, Day of AI India, recently at the Global Summit
Yeah.
of Artificial Intelligence, was aimed at teachers teaching levels grade 3 to 5, and we are having plans to develop similar curriculum for 68 also, and beyond. Only targeting teachers, to expose teachers about the use of AI, the way AI impacts societies, and the way AI could be used as a teaching aid in terms of delivering better quality education to children, but also exposing children to the various applications of AI in their daily tools, in
Hmm.
their day-to-day affairs. So we have developed this curriculum together with MIT in the US, contextualized to the Indian context, and brought it out. It's only our hope that 8.5 million teachers in our country at the school system and 1.5 million teachers in the higher education system would all be AI literate.
Okay, so it's nice to know about the launch of the recent MOOC in the teacher education space, and we will also try to create more awareness about this. As you said, every stakeholder, right from the children in the school and the teachers and the people attached to the ecosystem of education, they need to know about artificial intelligence. Now, there is one point which comes to my mind, because when we talk about education and skilling today, we can't talk about it without NEP 2020, the National Education Policy, and the kind of framework and recommendations it makes for different types of learning to accommodate many types of learning, make it inclusive, etc. If you see the trend today, we don't just depend on formal education, and it's not even very formalized edtech kind of learning, like, isn't it? So we believe in learning on the go, as and when we complete things, and we want credits for it, and we want to use this for our different purposes. So do you see AI playing a role here? Like, I was just reading about how AI is being used in responsive testing in a test like TOEFL. So, how do you see this unfolding in the coming months and years?
I think AI is likely to play a very important role,
Hmm.
at the hands of the teachers when they would like to exploit the tools in terms of creating innovative curriculum, creating innovative assessment techniques, to even encouraging and enabling students to have that level of personalized coaching and assistance provided to them. Although there are naysayers who would say that children should not use tools like generative AI or ChatGPT and others. But this is where I think we need some sort of a guidelines and responsive use of AI emerge over a period of time.
Hmm.
Now, at a early education level, uh, if the tendency is to discourage students using AI, then we are actually preventing our children from the opportunity to understand and also exploit the power of this technology on one hand. So we may have to adapt and be flexible to the changing environment, particularly the technological improvements that are happening,
Hmm.
and the general intelligence AI, which is basically taking over many facets of our life. So, as educators, we may have to allow for this rather than prevent our students from using. But that said, one can always come up with certain guidelines and policies, as they have done so in some of the universities that we see. For instance, the University of Michigan, for instance, they've come up with certain guidelines, but also they've launched their own set of AI services for students to exploit and also for teachers to exploit. Similarly, Waterloo University in Canada has also come up with um, certain guidelines that discusses issues such as chat GPT or risk of cheating in an examination or in a submission of an assignment, and so on, in a conversational mode, so that the students don't see this as a kind of a stricture emerging from the authorities, but also they themselves talk to the AI systems to understand the um, positives and the negatives of using such tools in their daily life, daily learning life, and as to how they could turn this around and use it in their in improvisation of their learning styles and learning techniques, and become creative enough rather than end up to be people who simply use the system to circumvent certain things.
Yeah.
So there are guidelines of that sort offered, but the point I'm making here is that the teachers as well as students should be allowed to exploit, but
Hmm.
with proper guidelines, so that we don't end up plagiarizing or cheating. Rather, we use these tools and techniques for improvisation of our own learning and acquiring more competences and skills.
Yeah, that's right. So that's much needed, the advice you gave regarding the risk and also how to mitigate the risks. So along with risks, we have rewards also. But uh, when we discuss education skills, it's also connected with the world of work. And my next point would be to know more about the kind of impact it's creating on the world of work. As we all know today, we talk so much about jobs that are disappearing, new jobs that are coming. But personally, I feel whether jobs get created or not, or we lose jobs, one thing which is very important, which you already mentioned, is human intelligence. So I see a lot of scope for connecting work with, maybe programs in humanities, programs which tell us how to, have these skills in us, which prepare us to face such situations, or, deal with technology. Because I think technology is only as smart as we use it, right? And it cannot take away our human intelligence. So what do you think, a few things that we should be doing for creating this awareness among the people who are already employed or who are job seekers?
I think there needs to be a clear partnership between employer organizations and the skilling ecosystem, particularly the state driven skilling ecosystem. So,
Mm.
take for instance, in a country like India, we have a skilling structure and we also have a skilling policy. And in all this, we see our current workforce as an asset rather than a liability,
Mm.
because this workforce is the backbone of our economy. And this workforce also includes people in the informal sector, not only in the formal sector, which constitute only a small percentage of the workforce. If you look at the workforce, the large percentage of the workforce come from the informal sector. So we need to ensure that in an inclusive manner, the entire workforce is taken into confidence, and there should be a reskilling program and an upskilling program, and if necessary, um, uh, injecting the newer workforce into the field, which is likely to happen because India is producing almost 15 million entrants to the workforce every single year, of which at this point in time we are able to accommodate only uh, maybe 20 to 25 percentage of them. So rest of them go into the informal workforce in a way.
Mm.
So we need a program, a large scale program to educate our workforce, be it in the manufacturing sector, be it in automotive sector, or any such trade skills where people are employed at this point in time. We need a AI awareness, AI literacy, and AI related reskilling program.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the informal workforce, who would be really affected by the disruption in terms of their ability to produce, market, and be uh, uh, in the workforce, earning their livelihood, we need to also orientate them towards the changes that the AI systems are bringing about in
Mm.
their lives, so that they are able to really conduct their business in a AI enabled manner, which means the orientation program for the informal workers would need to be very different to the orientation program of the factory workers and people in the various trades, if you like, in a formal system. So there is a major demand,
Mm.
and this needs to be driven by the public sector. Particularly, the government has to come forward, step forward, in terms of visualizing, similar to the Future AI India Future Skills, report that I mentioned to you earlier,
Yeah.
which largely talks about the formal system. But
Mm.
we also need a similar thinking for the informal system.
Okay. Actually, this is so insightful that we have many action points coming from what you just told us, the ways in which this kind of sensitization and preparation of the workforce can be taken up. So I hope our audience is also making note of these points and probably using them to implement, wherever possible. So before we close this conversation, is there something else you would like to add? Let's say by way of some advice to probably youth or organizations and institutions.
I think when it comes to young people, it's inevitable that all our young people should need to have the basic skills necessary, be it coding, be it computational thinking.
Mm.
But beyond the technical AI related skills, what I would advise is what would make it really big for them is the human intelligence, where they bring in their emotive skills, their team working skills, their leadership qualities, critical thinking, and evaluation skills, information inquiry, and so on, whereby they should use AI tools definitely to assist them and augment their thinking, but they should not really succumb to the advances of AI and become subservient. They should learn to exploit AI rather than being exploited by AI. So that's an advice that I would give to the young people, because it's easier to allow yourself to be exploited by somebody else than master a technology or a system or a situation. So I would recommend our young minds to become masters rather than subservient agents. When it comes to the organizations, I think time has come for us to collaborate. Many a times we compete and we try to demonstrate that we are better one off than the others. But the artificial intelligence is likely to force us to collaborate, because only as a human force, a united human force, we would be able to um, exploit AI. Otherwise, if we are divided human force, then AI systems would start exploiting us. So it's important for the political leadership, for educational leadership, for commercial, sector leaderships, business leadership, everyone to now realize that the time of competition is gone. The time of collaboration has come, and that's my personal advice. People may or may not like it, but I would like to really give this piece of advice to everyone, that start collaborating, start coming together. Otherwise, there will be a time when you would be told by an artificial intelligence system to behave, and you would be at crossroads.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing this valuable advice. I'm sure this is going to help us as we embark on various initiatives. And very importantly, as you said, collaboration is the word and the way to go.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time, Dr. Dubey.